So because you are with us on this quest, this crusade, your advocacy in your territory, amongst your friends and amongst your colleagues, helps us spread the word of FRAPA. With that, I think I've covered enough. You will have seen some things that we've been doing with our format registration, format analysis. We've been very public about a couple of things that people come to us. We still offer mediation for those companies that wish to take advantage of it. But we thank you very, very much, and we want you to bear with us if there's any technical problems today. I'll turn it over to Jan.
Thank you, Phil. You are truly the man with the words, so I don't have a lot to add. But besides just what Phil said, that we are the conscience of the format industry, and then it's important that we have a format industry, so we all have a business that will essentially feed our families. We also realize that there are other opportunities and other reasons why you could find it attractive to be part of FRAPA, the FRAPA community. And that is, of course, for the sharing of knowledge or the acquiring new knowledge. So we will keep on pushing for more reports, more intellectual properties, more sharing information about the industry as a whole or specific topics of the industry. We will do that much more going forward. We also hope to have an app, which it makes it really convenient to have all the services that Phil just mentioned and more right in your phone, just with one press, access it all. We hope to be able to launch that before Christmas. So keep your eyes out for that one and make sure to download it and recommend it to everybody you know. So please keep spreading the word, as Phil just beautifully said. Keep spreading the word and look into the incentive things that Phil just shortly mentioned, which is not only important because you will essentially get your own membership for free or heavily discounted, but it will also make the community larger. And the larger community we have, the more value we will all have, because the more business and the more networking we will all be able to make. And we realize that it's also a business and it's also a networking business at the end of the day. I think that's all I wanted to add. So I will leave this to our technical assistants now to put us all into the, we'll pass on to the board now, yeah?
Not yet, Jan. Let me just say a couple of things. If we can come back to me just for a second. I want to specifically do a shout out to Bianca for all her work that she does throughout the year and her team, keeping us on track, keeping us following the rules of how to be an association and now a foundation, and all the work she has done. I want to also give a special shout out to our newest member on our team, our leadership team, Eric Caffo, who is our project manager, who really did a great job with his team putting this together today. A special shout out as well to the management board of Lizette Van Diepen and Mike Beal. We get together every couple of weeks. There's so many things we're trying to do. We get requests for analysis. We get requests for adjudicating, and it comes in, and it's a nonprofit. We all work for free, but your board does a lot. We're going to have some new board members we're going to announce very shortly, as some people have stepped down, as some people will join. We're going to expand our board to a general board to become an advisory board, and there will be more members that we bring in at that point. Please remember to use your FRAPA logo wherever you can, on your papers, on your website. Think of it as a good housekeeping seal. If you're a member of FRAPA, people around the world know you are an honorable citizen behaving properly in the format business. So with that, I'm going to start turning it over to our board members who would like to say hi, and I guess I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mike Beal.
Hello, everybody. As always on Zoom calls, it's nice having a secret look into everybody's houses. So Merry Christmas. I hope everybody's okay. And I in turn am passing on to Lizette.
Hi, everybody. Dat ben jij, denk ik, Jan. Wat luid.
Lizette's at a concert hall.
If I wanted to find a way to get your attention, I think I just have. Lovely to see you all. We'll sort this, otherwise I'll go into another room. But lovely to see you all, and thank you for joining. Ik moet hier weg.
You have two microphones open, I think. That's what's happening.
Okay, moving on to Kerry. Sorry, guys.
I apologise. Yeah, my name's Kerry Lewis Brown. I know quite a few of you. It's really wonderful to see you after such a long time. As you can probably tell, I run K7 Media, and we provide information and market intelligence about what's going on in formats and other genres around the world. And I was asked to hand back to Jan. Is that everybody? We haven't had Hayley, have we? Hayley, I'm going to pass on to you.
Here, hi, Carrie. Hi, I'm Hayley. Hello, everybody. Happy end of the year. We've almost made it through 2020. Hang in there. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And thank you, UK, for leading the way with the vaccination starting today. That's very happy, promising news. And I'm going to pass on a quick hello from our colleague, Nicholas Smirno from Argentina. Nicholas, are you there? I do not know if Nicholas is there. There are so many people in gallery view. Okay, then how about saying hello to Jinu Hwang from Korea, who is a champion up at midnight joining us, as are all our colleagues from Asia.
안녕하세요. Hello, it's my name is Jinu Hwang, and it's honestly it's a very it's very heartwarming to see you all again. I really missed you all. Most of people know me as the head of formats in CJ&M. I left that company last year and I started my own this year called Something Special, and look forward to see you all in person very soon. And I will turn to Nicholas.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm here in Argentina. I'm from Prensario International. That is a publication that covers the region and the worldwide market. And I joined FRAPA, I don't remember where, I think 15 years ago, more or less. And I love to talk and discuss about the format business, about my special region and all the cross-interest. So great to be here.
So we go back to Jan.
We go back to me? I wonder why.
Or we can go to David. Let's go to David. Jan, you want to introduce David, please?
David from K7 Media. Yeah, usually we make a lot of fun in Cannes. That's so much more pleasant to have you in person, David. But as we can't do that, we're going to have you here digitally. And we're so glad that you have joined us, David. Over to you.
Thanks, Jan. Cheers. I don't know who's running this thing, but can you? Would you mind letting me share my screen because I've got some slides.
Milan is his name, running things.
Okay, if that's okay. Thank you. That should come up. There we go. Brilliant. Look at that. Oh, shoot.
As long as David can.
Oh, it's just been disabled again. Sorry, it was on for a second.
David Ciaramella is the co-host now.
Smashing. Thank you ever so much. Can you see that? Is that full screen?
It is full screen, yes.
Good job. We can see it.
Fantastic. Brilliant. We're there. It's one hurdle. Yeah, so nice to see you all. Sorry we can't all be together in person, really, isn't it? You know, at the Roma or Grady Albion this year. But for those of you who I don't know already, I work for Kerry at K7 Media. We're based here in Manchester in the UK. I'm actually in the office right now delivering this to you. But our outlook is, of course, truly global when it comes to charting the hottest new shows, formats and trends. So we provide research and analysis on programming all around the world. And I've been given 10 minutes just to quickly say what I please, essentially, which could be quite dangerous. But I have pre-recorded a presentation on trends for you all that you will receive following this session, I believe. So there's much more in that, including a load of clips to some new formats in there as well, so check that out. But right now I'm just going to cover one subject and one subject alone, and that is how is unscripted programming adjusting to these kind of bizarre, constrained COVID times. So I thought I'd give you a very quick run through of everything that K7 has learned. I won't take up too much time with kind of boring graphs. But forgive me as for ones they do provide a little bit of kind of more positive news. So this being the first one, so graphs like this have been making the headlines since March. This particular one from market research agency Limelight Network, so it comes as no surprise that TV viewing hours are up, and streaming subscriptions are up as well, all across the globe, and all thanks to the kind of to the increased enforced amount of time people are spending at home. And I think if you asked a lot of people, the development, production, and delivery of distracting entertainment content, entertaining content could, reasonably be considered a fairly vital, essential service. So I think we should all pat ourselves in the back for being entertainment key workers for the world right now. Here is another one. Oh, excuse me. There we go. So it's actual. This shows that it's actual TV shows, not movies, news, or sports or video games that are still in the lead for the type of content audiences are tuning into most at this time as well. But I think the more difficult question that we're all asking right now is this one: how are things getting commissioned? How long we got? But since April, K7 has been compiling our fortnightly quarantine TV report on news specifically related to pandemic-affected commissioning and production all around the world. It's a really big document to regularly pull together. So, there's so many scheduling changes and postponed productions and new reactive shows. But I thought I'd give you a quick snapshot of the current situation. And so we asked a few select commissioners and contexts from around the world for what they had to say. So allow me just very quickly to run through some of those. So starting off in the Netherlands, a couple of channel commissioners told us that commissioning is back to normal for 2021, but notably, so is the kind of lengthening of shows in prime time, before and after kind of late night talk shows, basically cutting away one 60-hour program in prime time there. So they're very conscious of certain productions being a risk, and hub productions which need them to move a large number of people or travel to exotic locations for a long production period are of course also a risk there. So as well as Corona look and feel shows generally being a no-go, something that we're seeing all around the world. We had a contact, Nellinen in Finland, who told us that commissioning is likely lower than what it was in 2019 right now, but they are still commissioning, which is the main thing. They're focused on brand-funded entertainment, again, something that we see replicated around the world so much. And incidentally, K7's next Insight report in January will be exactly on that, brand-funded entertainment. So all of our lovely clients watch that space. Not only are they looking to do local own device shows to cater to a brand, but rather vice versa, to find kind of turnkey solutions for local brands from international format catalogues as well. So keep an eye out on that. In the US, in terms of commissioning, all of those that we asked said that it's pretty much back to normal in terms of the unscripted side. Of course, there's more cuts for scripted. We're not 100% certain that that is entirely true. They're all much more interested in safe plays at the moment, so familiar concepts or format reboots, and a couple mentioned that they've had to jump through more hoops to get shows commissioned. Just because ad budgets are down across the board, but with scripted largely out of the picture, there is still money to be had for unscripted formats. Flitting over to Australia very quickly. So since Victoria came out of lockdown and all of the other states in Australia, COVID-free commissioning is definitely back as well. The big change was where commissioning happened. Historically, the bulk of production happened in the two major cities of Melbourne and Sydney. So when we had the first lockdown, or they had the first lockdown in March, a lot of production quickly moved to the Gold Coast in Queensland and out of Sydney in Byron. Studios and facilities are now being built in both states, and the state government funding bodies have been spending to encourage production again in their states. So Queensland was seen as a pretty kind of safe bubble across much of 2020. So everyone again is looking at brand funding and co-production over there. In fact, you're more likely to get a format up if you have considered brand funding and come with brands attached, says our Australian mole out there. So, and then back to the UK just very quickly. So UK is similarly back up and commissioning kind of fully again, but again with limited international production and perhaps more interest from the commercial broadcasters in additional sources of funding, something that we're seeing again and again. So there we go. In terms of the mood worldwide, I think this kind of sums it up. Unsurprisingly, commissioners and audiences alike are looking for escapism and they're looking for joy. So in the UK recently, factual entertainment chiefs at the BBC, Channel 4 and UK TV all chimed in their answers on a recent broadcast intelligence live webinar. The BBC's Catherine Catton said, "People are just desperate for escapism, and I want to create TV that makes people feel better about the world," which is lovely. And I think what's also inspiring is how the production community has risen to the challenge with really ingenious creative solutions to the challenges presented. So here's just one example, the kind of visually spectacular bank of screens showing the virtual at-home audience for Britain's Got Talent that aired this year. Kind of impressive in a wide shot, a little lacking perhaps in terms of close-ups and reaction, but a solution that helped to keep the sense of event television nonetheless. And there are some other ways around audiences as well, just very quickly. So in France's adaptation of Don't Forget the Lyrics, the presenter was joined by a cast of puppets in place of a studio audience. I know in Germany, a stand-up comedy show, although the comic routines were presented via video conferencing, an in-studio host coordinated the show while mannequins with tablets for heads replaced the studio audience, bizarrely enough. Another Swedish sing-along show used an app allowing viewers to film themselves at home, acting as a kind of live stream virtual audience. And in Russia, episodes of The Masked Singer were filmed without a live audience, with an audience added at the editing stage using footage from previous episodes. But I think it's, of course, also about how you film and manage the participants themselves. So in the Australian version of The Chase, which is shown here, the 4 players are kind of staggered behind the panel, ensuring they could still work together as a team. A similar trick was used in Denmark to maintain social distancing, moving the host back away from contestants in order to use the kind of depth of distance as the invisible space there. In Australia, their local version of The Voice used a redesigned set with 2 of the coaches who were unable to be physically present, beamed into the studio via real-time satellite link as well. So plenty going on there. So how does this all affect the types of shows being made and the logistics around those? So I think how and where we can safely make shows is rapidly influencing the types of entertainment and reality ideas getting commissioned. So whether it's an actual staging trick that drives a format, or a preference for shows set in the great outdoors, or with clever socially distanced setups baked into those as well. So first, we've got some studio tricks. The first up is 9 Windows, brought to the market this time around by Nippon TV and the Story Lab, a new comedy game show talent contest developed between the two in a partnership between those 2 companies there. Presented by a comedy host, the format features 9 ordinary contestants beamed into a studio from their homes through 9 different windows. So you've got these giant studio screens trying to impress the studio judges with their hidden talents, such as balancing household objects on top of one another, to using knife skills to slice items into any shape as well. Oh, there we go. The great outdoors is another really fantastic area that's flourishing again, in particular, partly driven by the need to go outside or into safe, constructed environments due to the pandemic. But also I think with kind of survival and teamwork, as that's understandably a little bit in all of our minds right now as well. So this one is The Bridge, originally launched in Spain as El Puente, but was adapted in France and now just aired on Channel 4 in the UK this year, produced by Workerbee. It was Banerjé's kind of quick turnaround replacement as their 2020 celebrity series of The Island had to be postponed indefinitely due to COVID travel restrictions there. And then there was All Together Now as well from Denmark, which aired on TV2 Play in October. which sees 8 people placed in 2 pairs and isolated across 4 different islands. The couples then complete tasks to get to know each other and hopefully to fall in love as well in that one, which is very sweet. Ranger in Your Ear as well, so from the creators of cooking format Chef in Your Ear, the format people, Ranger in Your Ear, I think has the kind of potential to be the dose of light-hearted comedic reality audiences really need right now. So where Chef in Your Ear had chefs guiding competing amateurs through a recipe via an earpiece, this one has 2 celebs guided by professional rangers in care of wild animals in a safari park, also via an earpiece there as well. Quickly moving on, so there's a lot. I'm calling this all at sea. There's a lot of formats out there right now that are set in the ocean. You can't get more socially distanced than that, that's for sure. So in Korea, NBC's Yacht Expedition had 4 male stars attempt a Pacific yacht voyage. Lots of drama with genuinely kind of life-threatening typhoon. Also hitting their boat on the very first day, which is rather unlucky. ITV's Don't Rock the Boat launched in the UK just the other month with 12 famous faces competing in 2 teams to row the length of Britain in kind of separate race legs with challenges on land to buy them advantages in the race. So it was kind of dubbed the amazing race on water for that one. In the Netherlands, all aboard, or all hands on deck, which is a local version of the Rabbit format over the Atlantic, which first aired on TV5 in Finland in 2017. And of course, Ultimate Surfer as well, which is coming soon to ABC in the States, which has kind of up-and-coming surfers training and battling it out at a surf ranch in individual and team challenges. We've also seen a lot of singing safely. So this September, ITV's Celebrity Karaoke Club had 7 famous faces living together in a hotel setting over the course of a week and performing their favourite karaoke tracks each night. So various rounds saw the celebs sing in a group, go head to head on the same song, or even attempt to sing a random song with no set lyrics. And the contestants vote for the winner amongst themselves, which adds another element of hilarity. What's quite nice about that one is that you can clearly see the stars were really having a great time. They were able to hang out with people and get drunk and mess around and, of course, sing together for the first time in a while. And it's not the only safe singing format out there. Just 2 more to go. So the first one, Drive Through Oki, this one from MBN in Korea, launched back in May this year and has kind of everyday people and celebrities testing their karaoke skills in a car. So their mission is to open 3 gates, each managed by a host, by impressing them with their singing abilities. And if they're let through all 3 gates, they're then awarded a cash prize. And then last but certainly not least from me just now is Hit the Road, which was produced by Talpa for SBS6 this September. So again, you know, cars becoming another familiar way to suggest kind of a safe space while allowing a production to feel like it's still out and about in the world. This one, you've got strangers at the close confines of a car who have to go around singing their favourite songs. So that is all from me. I've probably gone over my 10-minute limit. I do apologise, everybody, but yeah, we'll send you out following this a kind of longer trends overview so you can really get your teeth into that one. But thanks for listening. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Really well done.
Thank you, David.
Really well done. Thank you.
Thank you to David Chermella. You were not too long. You were just on right time, David, which you certainly are not when we are together physically. So that's really good. Thank you for that, David. You're brilliant as always, and thank you to Carrie for letting us have David for just 10 minutes here. And look out for the specially designed clips shows for inspirational purposes, which David will share with all of you, or we will share with all of you after this this session. I think it's time for us to go in our breakout rooms now.
I think we turn to Eric. He's going to explain how this works.
And Eric is the one. There you are, Eric, yeah.
Yeah, so we're all switching you off to breakout rooms with the board members that you had indicated you wanted to join when you registered. There'll be 2 15-minute sessions, so you'll get your first and second choice with 1 note. The people that chosen Michael Schmidt will have to choose another room because Mike was unfortunately not able to make it. And for everybody else, if you are willing to join another conversation other than the one you're in, just leave the room and there'll be a screen with all the available rooms with numbers. Use the chat function to indicate which room you want to join next, and we'll put you there. And for the people that had chosen Michael, you can also choose a new room right away. So enjoy, everybody.
And hey, Eric.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Here's what I like to say, guys. When you do live television,
yeah,
embrace whatever happens, and just go with it. It's live TV.
Amen.
Exactly.
Well, I just don't want it to be a bad experience for everyone else. I don't care about it.
It's not a bad experience. We all have cocktails.
You are never a bad experience, Haley.
No, this is fun. This is
we
fun.
all went home now.
Where are our...
It's live TV. Eric's working on it, Haley.
Yes.
Haley, I was with you.
Eric's working on it.
Eric's working on it, but I do suggest, Phil, that maybe we just stick with one session because it's already
that's what I
full.
said. Jan, Eric, and I, we've discussed that. It'll be one because we don't want to keep people past the top of the hour, of course.
Exactly, and we all have other calls as well, so that's good.
Well, no, I have nothing else to do all day. I can sit here and talk to FRAPA friends for 24 hours. I'm just thrilled that we have so many members who showed up today.
Yeah.
People who care about the business and care about our little organization.
But we have a lot of BBC Studios executives on the call as well, and they are very busy people.
I'm surprised they haven't broken up for Christmas, Jan, especially Andre.
Mike Beal.
Who says I haven't?
Good, Andre.
What I understand, there's a whole new structure over there, and at least they're following the rules, unlike ITV.
Phil.
No idea which rules you're talking about.
I'm supposed to be in room number 1 to host it, but here I am. I can do, we can do jokes.
Hey, Phil, can you maybe start talking about your topic and get a conversation going while we all wait with everybody?
Sure. Well, here, I can start talking about America. Because it's still a big market. And it's a very important market in launching formats. I would say this, a few good things. I'm just going to start with my agenda, and if you want to listen, here we go. And if you don't, I'm sorry if I bore you. A few good things about doing business in America. Most American outlets will generally honor the idea of intellectual property. And if something has been produced elsewhere, they will pay for a format. Obviously, first to air, the buyers who will not recognize an additional format fee. But if it's aired in another territory, they certainly will. The cost of doing business in the U.S. has risen dramatically. I'm sure it has in your territories as well. One of the common issues we're having certainly in 2020 is what is that percentage of cost increase to your budget because of COVID protocols? Every network that I work with here, whether it's a broadcast network, a streamer, or a cable network, they all have different manuals. Some of them are 80 pages, some of them are 150. We have so many different COVID things. What we're finding is the rule of thumb, it's between 15 and 20% of an increase on top of your budget in the US to handle all the COVID protocols. There are companies that have sprung up already here, and I'm sure in your territory as well, where they are doing protocol officers, COVID officers, if you will, to make sure things are safe. When I started my career a long time ago, I was able to get a license fee, and I was able to protect my IP. I would own it. Those rules don't apply in the U.S. I would say there are 3 different topics and 3 different paths. This is what I wanted to share. There are 3 different paths to selling in the U.S. Most of you probably know that. And if you're trying to break into the U.S. market, the 3 paths would be pitching directly. You can try to get your way to a buyer, whether it's a broadcaster or a streamer or a cable network. There are pros and cons with that. If you can get to a buyer and get it to the buyer directly, they may be more enthusiastic about buying your show. But similarly, they will tell you, they will probably be dictating the terms of who you will be making it with. You can pitch through an agent. The U.S. is very unusual in that we have agents as middle people, middlemen, middle women, and they act as kind of a clearinghouse, if you will, for the buyers here. But sometimes an agent will have the relationship with the buyer that you may not be able to have on your own. And then the third way is obviously pitching with producing partners, whether it's a big multinational like BBC or ITV or A&E, or independent production companies like yours truly or other independent companies. You know, Tim, our friend Tim at Small World, has been very successful taking his IP directly to the broadcaster. Sometimes Tim is able to do it directly to the broadcaster. Sometimes I guess they come in with production companies. So you have three paths to selling in the US: pitching directly, through an agent, through a partner. Then you have three outlets, right? We know we have the streamers, the broadcast networks, and the cable outlets. The streamers are the place to be. They will typically try to own everything, but they will pay a premium if you can get in there. The broadcast networks, it's a little different. At one point, the broadcast networks were the crown jewel for everybody. Increasingly, it's smaller and smaller because each one of these big parent companies are trying to drive everything towards their own streaming platforms. And the cable networks are still buying. They're still buying a lot, but you can see here in the US that the cable networks are increasingly gearing to become a brand within their streaming platforms. So you won't see all these channels go away. You'll just see a change in commissioning structures. And finally, you have three ways. Once you've sold something, I would say you have three choices. You can sell it outright, sell the idea outright and be fully passive, probably what might happen at a streamer. You can sell and remain a creative participant, and that's based on the negotiation that you will have. Or you will sell and attempt to co-produce. If you are with the right big multinational or the right studio or the right independent company, you can share in margin. Maybe you can share in producing fees, and you can share in back end. Think of it as a 3, 3, and 3. There are ways to sell into the US, and the one beautiful thing in the US is there are more outlets here than in any other territory in the world, whether you think streamer, cable, network. This is the place where you can get access to. So if you can talk to board members, network your ass off with agents, or find production companies, distributors, and studios, that certainly is a way. I've talked enough. Does anybody have questions? You want to? This was meant to be a discussion, but I guess we're running out of time. I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts? Hi, who's there? I see nobody.
Look in the chat, see if there are questions in the chat.
Phil, I've got a question for you, although my screen has gone insane.
Yes.
Just interesting, are you, with all these rights that the channels are taking for the streamers, etc., and their different platforms, are they paying premiums for that because they're taking more rights?
Well, I'll give you two personal examples. There is one streamer, and I won't be specific because I don't want to be specific to the streaming platforms. There's one streamer that we're in business with where they paid a premium, but it was a buyout. So you get paid more, but that's it. That's the end of the day. You make your production fee. If the show continues multiple seasons, you'll get multiple seasons out of that. If you can create a hub and you can produce multiple territory versions, multiple language versions, you can make more on that. But that's a premium. Another place, depending on the content, you might be able to share another back end if there's ancillary revenue, if there's other things that you can get, if there's other merchandise, if there's other ways to exploit the format that's not just about the television show. You can probably take a share from some streamers. We are currently in a fight with one very large streaming service who has said, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I want to keep this clean. They basically just told us, nah, you want to be in business with us? It's a take it or leave it. I do find that the cable networks are being more aggressive in their being more open, not aggressive. They want content. They're worried that people aren't pitching them. So they may make better deals than they used to. I don't know if that answers your question, Mike.
Yeah, thanks.
Phil, just a quick observation from me, which is that one of the things that I found has changed in the last year to 18 months is it used to be that when you launch your format, your initial broadcaster takes a share of the future format revenue and that's it. But we find going particularly to the US networks, they are also asking, even though the show may have been to 3 or 4 territories beforehand, that they want a share of format revenues going forward from anywhere else in the world. I'm sure they've done this with successfully with the Korean formats, and they do add a lot of value when the shows work. But that's just made it more complicated now, taking shows into the US.
I think that's correct. It depends on which territory it comes from. Obviously, if it's a big hit in the UK, it's a harder issue for them. But if it's a hit from a smaller territory, they're certainly taking the position that they've added more value. Yeah. They've added more value, so it's exponential And, you know, it's up to you to say you want to do the deal or not, right? You don't have to do that deal. You know, the best way to get a better deal out of anybody is to have two buyers.
Yes, absolutely.
Perhaps, Tony, now that you're, you know, there's a question in the chat here also about US. Are you finding that networks are trying to push down format fees as a result of increased cost from COVID, more so than squeezing production fees?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, we've seen them capping the format fees. So no longer this 5 or 6%. It's 5 or 6%, but capped at, you know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 an episode, which is another challenge. And I mean, they're cutting down everywhere. These days of having shows loaded up with executive producers are also over, which, you know, people would say is actually a good thing in some ways. But there's a definite push down of costs, and format fees is one of the first. I mean, I think they're just, particularly post Masked Singer, there was a long period, probably 5 or 6 years, where a global breakout format didn't really come from success in the US. You know, in the early years for us with shows like Idols, you know, the success in the US really drove the rest of the world. And then for 4 or 5 years, that didn't really happen. And I think since the Masked Singer and the incredible impact that the US success of that had, I think the US networks are emboldened now to say we add an enormous amount of value by producing your show, and we're going to take that value by giving you a reduced format fee and taking a share of your future format revenues.
Mm.
I would like to answer Lucy's specific question. I have yet to see the channels push back on format fees to compensate for the COVID costs. I can tell you some channels are sitting here in the US saying, eat the COVID cost, that's your problem. You know, but that's because, again, it's a negotiation.
I can say from the Nordic point of view, all the broadcasters here in the Nordics have been pushing back on COVID cost and insisting that there was either a 50-50 split on additional cost related to COVID between the producer and them, or it was 100% risk for the producer. So there's been different business models cooking here in the Nordics related to COVID costs.
I'm curious to know, what is anybody disagree about the percentage in your territories? Does anybody else have some other feedback?
Actually, somebody said would love to hear from Jin on how Korean formats are faring right now.
Well, I was curious to know, but before we get to that, Haley, I was just still curious to know about costs in other territories from a production budget. As we're talking about COVID, in the Nordics, in the UK, in Europe, in Asia, are you guys seeing the same percentage of budget increase? Anybody close to the production on that? Yeah, cost is important, but are the buyers in your territories making you, are they willing to pay above that, or are they making you eat the costs? Anybody?
Well, in my experience, I guess it's more kind of reducing the cost, because we all know that one of the biggest reducers of this COVID-19 times is the ad sales. And well, what I've been hearing from especially Asian territories or even some European territories, when you're selling format, they are more considered about like bringing sponsorship or how to maximize the revenues or how to maximize the cost rather than just format fees. So I'm even starting to discuss about non-zero option fee. And I think that's another kind of a way to approach at this time of the moment.
So does anybody else have some more questions for our little discussion here? So Samantha says here, when pitching to streamers, cable and networks in the US, what is the best way to pitch just now? Well, you know what? I will say this. I can certainly talk about the US this way, and I don't know if it's true in other countries. I'm finding the buyers are actually more available because they're all sitting at home doing this. They're all sitting, you know, one of the beautiful things about COVID, if there's anything that's beautiful, and there's nothing that's beautiful, besides having dinner with my family every night, which I never would have back in the old days, because I'm home. The buyers are there. The meetings generally start on time. The meetings generally last a half hour. It's like MIP constantly, unless you're in production. If it's a pitch meeting, they will be able to be there. Send a log line, and if they want to see it, they'll schedule a Zoom. I think depending on your relationship with the buyer, if they know you, they'll schedule the meeting. If they don't know you, it's certainly important to partner with a production company, a reputable distributor, or somebody who has the access. The same as it ever was. But they're being very open to having pitches. I would typically not be pitching in December because everybody starts to wind down. But meetings are happening. But try to if you don't have the relationship, try to find the right partner. You're looking at a bunch of them. Tim, I'm seeing Tim wearing no pants in his house. I'm seeing Jin, Haley, me, Jan. We're all the kind of guys you partner with if you don't have the relationship. Oh, here's something. Toto,
No.
we've produced a full season in South Africa instead of just a pilot, looking for a buyer in the US. A distributor, why don't somebody who's got a distribution company here take this one? From Toto, anybody see that question in the chat? Everybody froze?
Everybody froze.
No, I don't think anybody wants to commit straight away, Phil. But but as a distributor, interested to hear more of the content and take a look at it. Always happy to help people get into the US.
Exactly. Here's one thing for FRAPA board members: you can always get us at our name at frapa.org. Every FRAPA board member has their own email.
Being aware of time, we only have 2 minutes left. So I just want to, on my own behalf, to say I'm sorry for the mess here. We would have loved to do the breakout rooms. We're going to try that another time. But nevertheless, it was beautiful to see all your smiling faces once again. I look forward, and there was a question in the feed here, which is very relevant. Will we see each other at MIPCOM 2021? Yes, we will see each other at MIPCOM 2021 with a free bar, Danny Fenton, and the full shebang and a full package, and we will be there physically. I promise you. With the vaccines and everything rolling out, we are all hopeful for that. So sorry that the breakout rooms didn't work out. Look out for all the Christmas gifts from K7 Media that you will be receiving, the K format reports, which Kerry also just wrote about in the feed, and the clip show, which David Giaramella has beautifully put together for all of you. So thank you for joining, everybody. I don't know if you want to say something as a last goodbye, Phil, before everybody drops
Yeah,
out.
I mean, if there's any drinks left, Eric Cafoe sent out a whole series of suggested cocktails for everybody. I'm going to go have breakfast here in Los Angeles. We are honored that you are members of FRAPA. We appreciate your support. We ask you to go bring other members into our mission. Between our ideas and our services, we think FRAPA is here for the long run, and here's to another 20 years. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in Miami or Cannes or somewhere.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everyone.
Let's hope for a better 2021.
Stay safe and sane.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you all for joining and sticking around.
Thank you all for doing. I know it was a lot of work, so thank you, FRAPA.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. You unmuted, Tim, for the important stuff.
Hey, thank you. It's all about us, Haley.
Hey, I've been doing this 15-year anniversary thingy, and I did a thing last week, and I said, we are in such a wonderful business where we don't have assholes. Everybody on this call are friends. We share information. It's a joy to wake up in the morning to everybody. We don't have people raiding our dumpsters looking for information. Well, maybe Mike Beal, but no, Mike, I love you.
Indeed.
But I mean, truly, we are just so fortunate to be in business where you enjoy seeing everybody, and I mean that from the heart. So, thank you.
And Tim, you're amazing. You and Colleen have been amazing supporters of FRAPA for years too. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Next time we'll get the tech right. It was great to see so many faces.
Carry on.